is in London. Sharon, are you a Netflix subscriber? Are you going to be finding out how you're going to do your Christmas from Meghan this year?
Of course I will. I watch all her series, and she's working hard for her. She's working to support herself. She's not getting free money from the taxpayer and billions like all the others doing nothing.
Why should she? She's not living in this country.
As for you and all the others who hate this woman from the first day...
Don't hate her.
You do hate her, all of you, every
Calm down, Sharon. I don't hate her.
You've got nothing to say about her. Whatever she does to make a living, you all complain about her. You're all racist and horrible.
Oh, there you go. There's the truth.
Everything she wears, everything she does, all of you have to complain about her. You've never got anything good to say about her. So I love her. She's great, and I'll watch all her series, and I hope she gets many more series, and all these horrible people like that woman on the show today. They just have nothing good to say about this woman. Go and support all the other royals and give them all your taxpayer money, millions. They've got billions, and you're all still supporting them and giving them millions every year. All right, and this woman is trying to make a living, and all you've got to say every day is horrible things about everything. From the first day she comments, from the first day she was
not true.
Sharon, are you going to do some craft?
From the first day you've all hated her because she's straight and she's not a white person. You don't do that to any of the other royals, so just shut up and leave a woman alone to make a living. You're making a living doing what you want to do. She's making a living. Nobody's support giving her money. So just leave her alone. I'm sick of you people every single day.
Okay, Sharon, thank you for making those points. I'm going to give you a chance to come back there, Carol, because you just called me a racist.
You should just call me a racist. Yeah, but that's just so typical. Like, it's like if you criticise someone and they happen to have a skin that's black or brown, you have to be racist. You can't criticise them on the basis of what they do. I don't know why she's in love with somebody who actually has sold out the royal family, who has made the millions that she's talked about on the backs of the family and by hurting and talking and telling actually lies about it. She called the royals racist too, remember? Meghan called them racist, as did Harry. So if we're talking about racist accusations, there you go. But that was a rant. That's not sensible. That's someone who says, I love her and I hate all the rest of the royals.
That might be somebody that's expressing real discontent about the royal family.
Well, she's not expressing it in a very good way.
The way the royal family have been making their money over the years, we have little choice over.
She might well be doing that, but she didn't do that there. She called me a racist and she was screaming and shouting, calling us horrible. That is not the way to make your argument.
Okay, well, listen, we are going to have to leave it there. And before we go...
In an episode of Witness News on Thursday, December 4th, 2025, I stated that Thomas Markle, the Duchess of Sussex's father, told Meghan off while her mother, Doria Ragland, was in prison. I believe this to be the case based on what I now understand to be misinformation. I assume online. I was questioned about the validity of this claim during the broadcast, and I repeated this belief, which I now understand to be false. This was a genuine error. I accept what I have now been told on behalf of Miss Ragland, that she raised her daughter and that she has never been in prison or jail. I apologise sincerely to Miss Ragland and her family for any pain my comments may have caused, and I'm happy to set the record straight.
Can I just say I'm happy news because I was on the programme that too. We all wish to apologise to Miss Ragland for the error, and we are happy to correct the record.
Let's be absolutely clear from the outset, because vagueness is exactly how misinformation survives. What happened on AT was not a casual slip of the tongue, not a heat-of-the-moment exaggeration, and not an innocent misunderstanding during a live discussion. It was the deliberate repetition of a claim that has been publicly disproven for years, stated with confidence, certainty, and zero on-air correction. Carol Malone did not merely express a personal dislike of Meghan Markle, or voice a subjective opinion about her character. She made a categorical factual assertion that Meghan, and then doubled down by declaring emphatically that statement is not supported by the public record. It never has been, and it has been repeatedly clarified, corrected and challenged in interviews, documentaries and direct statements from Harry himself. Yet it continues to be broadcast as though it were established fact. And this matters profoundly, because when misinformation is delivered with authority, repetition and institutional backing, it stops being casual commentary and becomes. The average viewer does not pause to cross-reference interviews or revisit transcripts. They absorb what they are told, especially when it comes from a familiar media figure on a mainstream platform. When that absorption is built on something demonstrably untrue, the resulting harm is not incidental. It is cumulative, reputational, and entirely avoidable. At that point, the issue is no longer disagreement, it is responsibility. What makes this situation especially alarming is the glaring double standard in how broadcasters handle allegations depending on royal is being discussed. When Prince Andrew is mentioned, the language immediately shifts. Presenters tread carefully, qualifiers appear instantly, and viewers are repeatedly reminded that or that claims are. There is visible legal awareness, editorial caution, and an obvious effort to protect the broadcaster from misrepresentation. Every sentence is measured, every word weighed, because accuracy suddenly matters. But when the conversation turns to Harry and Meghan, those same standards evaporate. False claims are repeated without challenge, corrections from other panellists are brushed aside or ignored, and misinformation is allowed to harden into common knowledge. Viewers are left with a distorted version of events that prioritizes outrage and narrative simplicity over truth. This is not neutral journalism, and it is not balanced debate. It is selective carelessness that disproportionately targets the two royals who no longer benefit from palace protection or institutional shielding. That disparity alone should raise serious concerns for anyone who values ethical media practice, regardless of whether they personally support or criticise the Sussexes. The documented reality here is not complicated, ambiguous, or open to interpretation. It is remarkably consistent. Not during the Oprah interview, not in follow-up statements, not in podcasts, not in documentaries, and not in Harry's memoir. This is not a matter of opinion. It is a matter of record. In fact, when the issue was explicitly revisited during Harry's interview with Obama, Harry went out of his way to clarify the situation. He stated plainly that the British media had, and that the narrative had been distorted beyond recognition. He further explained that if he were to characterize the issue at all, it would be more accurately described as a term that acknowledges complexity, social conditioning, and systemic blind spots rather than malicious intent. That distinction matters, and it was deliberately articulated by Harry himself. This clarification has been made repeatedly on record and in public forums. Carol Malone has been told. Jeremy Vine has been told. Other panellists have stated it live on air. Yet the false claim continues to be repeated, not because the truth is unclear, but because the lie is more useful. The relentless insistence on framing Meghan and Harry as people who called the royals racist serves a very specific and deeply troubling function. It is an outrage trigger. It activates defensive hostility in audiences who interpret any discussion of race as a personal accusation. It fuels anger, grievance and resentment, and it creates fertile ground for extremist commentary to flourish unchecked. Most disturbingly, it provides cover for genuinely racist abuse by reframing it as justified backlash rather than harassment. This is not accidental or naive. Media professionals understand exactly which phrases inflame, polarize, and drive engagement. They know that repeating them, even falsely, keeps controversy alive while accountability remains conveniently absent. When hosts fail to correct the record, especially after being corrected repeatedly, they are not remaining neutral observers. They are actively participating in the spread of misinformation. This is accountability, the very principle journalism claims to uphold. You do not have to admire Harry and Meghan to recognize that this pattern is wrong. You simply have to believe that truth matters more than convenience, and that media platforms have a responsibility to distinguish fact from fabrication. If broadcasters want to debate the Sussexes honestly, then they must start by debating, not what provokes professional integrity. This is your moment to act.